10 Greatest Warriors of All Time. Throughout the course of human history, you wouldn't believe how much mankind has waged war and conflicts against each other for various reasons. Wealth, fame, power, land, glory, you name it, people have conducted thousands of wars around the world, and brave warriors have long been celebrated for their involvements in those battles, changing the outcomes and winning them for their sides. Their lives, their strategies, and their tactics have all been richly recorded. But who are the greatest of all time, whose deeds carry them onto the pantheon of the 10 greatest warriors of all time? Let's find out. Here are the 10 greatest warriors of all time. You're rolling with a best of 10s. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and you'll want to share this video. Number 10. Richard I, the Lionheart. You might have heard of Richard I from various references to him in Robin Hood lore, as he was the absentee true king of England who took his armies and marched in the Holy Crusades, leaving the country apparently in the hands of his brother. He ruled Normandy, Brittany, Cyprus, Anjou, Aquitaine, and Nantes, and he is known better by his nickname of the Lionheart than even his official title. He gained this nickname for his rare and exceedingly immovable courage and his clever war strategies. He actually led his first army at just 16 years old and led the Christian armies against Saladin. However, he wasn't a fool, and when he realized that securing Jerusalem was a lost cause, he signed the peace treaty and went back to France. Number 9. Saladin. Well, it had to be. Based on the tale of Richard the Lionheart, Saladin has often been made to look like the villain of the Third Crusade in Western history. But in the Middle East, he is the hero who held back the European Crusaders and delivered Jerusalem to the Muslims. He was born in Mesopotamia as just a commoner in 1138, but rose to become the first Sultan of Egypt and Syria by the time he was 38. In his early days, he united the Arab forces. But even after he became the leader of the country, he still personally went into battle, leading the military campaigns. When he died in 1193, he had given almost all of his wealth to poor people. Not such a bad guy after all. Number 8. Attila the Hun. Everyone has heard of Attila the Hun, as he was the leader of the infamous barbarian group the Huns between 434 and 453 AD. Even the might of the Eastern and Western Roman empires did nothing to stop them fearing Attila, and at the peak of his military career, his empire spread from the Rhine to the Ural to the Danube and the Baltic Sea. He crushed Italy and even made it to France, known then of course as Gaul. However, he was eventually defeated by the Roman Empire and died in the year 453. Number 7. Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi was born in 1584 and is renowned as a samurai wizard, which sounds extremely cool no matter who you are. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest warriors to have ever lived, being trained and raised by his uncle after his father had died, though he himself was a trained swordsman and martial artist of some renown. When he was 13, he traveled across Japan to challenge the best swordsman that he could find to duels. He won over 60 duels in his life, and never once suffered a defeat. He is said to have died with a sword in one hand and a cane in the other, and is considered responsible for the Nitoryu technique, literally meaning two-sword style. Number 6. Spartacus. Yes, Spartacus. Inspiration for many a book, movie, and TV show. He was born in 109 BC in Thrace and is the gladiator who led the revolt against the Roman Empire. While Rome was at war with Germany, Spartacus decided to leave the army instead of fighting, and the empire punished him brutally, selling him into slavery. Thanks to his remarkable strength and physical fitness, not to mention his raw talent for fighting, he became a gladiator and built an army of slaves, over 90,000 strong. He's not just known as an incredible warrior though, but a very kind and compassionate, courageous man. He was killed in battle in his 30s, but was never forgotten. Number 5. Sun Tzu. Most people have heard of Sun Tzu's world-famous book, The Art of War, written in the 5th century BC. But the ancient Chinese general is revered for much more than just writing. He was known as a keen strategist, a martial artist, and quite obviously, a philosopher. He took the king's concubines and was actually able to transform them into a highly effective military force. His seminal book has influenced the military strategies of many others on this list, but also more modern warriors like Napoleon, and even strategists like Henry Kissinger. Number 4. Hannibal Barca. Hannibal Barca is a name that many haven't heard of, but he was the leader of the Carthaginian forces in the Second Punic War and earned himself the consideration of being the greatest of all Rome's enemies. He crossed the Alps with 37 war elephants and 46,000 soldiers, and after he entered the Roman territory, he terrorized the Romans for more than 10 years. He destroyed hundreds of towns, and he won several major battles before he was finally defeated by Scipio at the Battle of Zama. Finally, in 201 BC, Scipio forced him to sign a peace treaty, but he left a wake of carnage and destruction that shouldn't be forgotten. Number 3. Julius Caesar. The most famous Roman to ever live, the greatest general in Roman history, Julius Caesar won battles in Britain, France, and Germany, and many of his military adventures were documented. When he was done in battle, he came to power as a quaestor and a praetor, eventually even becoming a consul and a proconsul. However, the Senate grew to have serious issues with the power and influence that he was gaining, and they asked him to disband his forces, but he refused, proclaiming himself dictator for life and becoming the leader of Rome until he was assassinated by the senators, including famously his supposed friend Brutus. Number 2. Leonidas I. The Spartan leader, Leonidas I, was more than just a character in a movie. He was the 17th king of Sparta, and while it's not confirmed, he is rumored to be a direct descendant of Heracles. He is, of course, best known for his incredible leadership against the Persian king Xerxes at the Pass of Thermopylae, leading 7,000 soldiers, including 300 Spartans that made up his personal guard. Of course, the soldiers would go on to betray Leonidas, and so he sent most of them away and kept only the 300 Spartans. As everyone who has seen the movie knows, 300 Spartans against the armies of Persia was a fool's errand, but a bold one. Number 1. Alexander the Great. How could it be anyone else? Alexander the Great is known widely as the greatest warrior of all time. He was the king of Macedon between 336 and 323 BC, and his empire stretched from India to Greece, including Persia, Syria, Egypt, the Balkans, and much, much more. Learning from his tutor, Aristotle, Alexander the Great fought right at the front of almost every battle he ever fought and planned to invade Arabia. But unfortunately, having conquered more of the world than anyone else ever, he became sick. Eventually, his sickness worsened, and he died in 323, leaving a legacy that still exists today. Well, there you go. Those are the greatest warriors of all time, whose tactics, deeds, and courage shaped the world as we know it to this very day. What do you think about them? And who is your favorite warrior from history? Leave your 2 cents in the comments section down below. Then like, subscribe to Best of Tens if you haven't already, jingle that notification bell, and share this explosive video.